Alright guys, I just want to start this video out with a little backstory on this buck. Have 5 years of history with him. Had him on camera my first year, be able to have permission on the property. It's like 30 acres. He was a 2.5-year-old, 6-point with no brow tines. That's why I gave him the name No Brows, just a way to keep track of him. And he kind of kept them same genetics clear through until I harvested him. Never did have any brow tines that were very tall. And we was able to get the sheds off. Well, one side of his sheds off from him when he was a 2.5-year-old. Then a 3.5-year-old, we found his sheds too. Had his pictures. 4.5-year-old, we got some trail camera pictures of him. Never got on his sheds that year. I think another buck kind of had him pushed out of there, so we never ended up finding him that year. Then coming into the 2020 season, he was a 5.5-year-old, and I really started hunting him then. And had a really unique rack. He had a drop time come down on one side. He got a worm in his rack and it shot his beam down. It was really neat looking. And then the 2021 season last year, when he was a 6.5-year-old, I didn't spend any time over there hunting him. I had another buck I was hunting on a different property. I was really trying to track down. It was a really nice 10-point, and I never made it over there that season to really hunt him too much, maybe a few times. But we ended up going in there. Brett came over. We ended up finding the sheds from 2020 season and 2021 season. And in the 2020 season, I got really close. He came in about 15 yards, worked a scrape, milled around a little bit, and walked back out the way he came in. It was the closest I got to him. And the 2021 season rolled around next year, and I had another deer show up on a different property, which I just said. And I hunted him really hard. I stuck him with an arrow. I never got to finish him off, so I never went back over to pursue this deer when he was a 6.5-year-old. And coming into the 2020 season, we had deer on public then that we was going to try to harvest, and the things didn't work out right there. And he showed back up again, and he was a 7.5-year-old. And I knew that if he was going to show up daylight and we got where we found his sheds at, we'd have a really good opportunity at him this year. So you guys just stick with me and watch how this year went for me to get this deer on the ground. All right, guys, we're over here on this private piece of property that I got to hunt. Got off of public for today just because the deer I've been waiting to show up showed up daylight this morning about 7, and he was there for about an hour. So hopefully he does the same thing tonight. Wind's right. We're gonna go in here and get set up on this deer, and hopefully he shows up. So keep you updated. All right, guys, we had a long day so far. We went out and we picked up 20 acres of private property that we're able to hunt. Went down there and put a corn pile and a cell cam on it to see what's possibly on the property to be able to hunt it. Now we're back out here on public land. We're gonna give it this is probably my 3rd or 4th sit. We're coming down to a spot that we haven't sat yet. That's gonna go over here more towards the east side. I'm gonna go over to the west side. We got Big Creek and a bunch of corn in the bottom out here. But it's kind of warm, but it's supposed to drop off about what, 15 degrees?
Yeah, about 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Down in the 50s.
Yeah, it's gonna get down to 50s, and it's about 70 right now. So 15 to 20 degree drop tonight. So we're gonna try to get in there, get set up, and see if we see anything. We'll check back in with you guys. All right, guys. Finally got set down in the tree. I picked a spot right on the corner of the creek. It runs down through here. There's a cornfield across from me in the creek. There's a cornfield to the left over here. I got some really heavy brush and thick undercut and a little bit of oaks over there. Our wind is kind of working that way. Kind of coming sideways across here. Hopefully it'll draw some deer down and behind me in this way, where I can kind of see how they're moving around in here. Maybe get set up better on another hunt. But try to get lucky tonight. I like my setup. I think I'm in a good spot. Don't think I blew any deer out. Getting in here, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, we made it back out here. We got skunked out there the other night on public land. Didn't see anything. We had deer up on a private piece.
This buck up here, he's been showing up right in the evenings and early mornings. We have a big temperature drop today. It's been overcast all day, so Brett came in here last night and sat and seen a few does and stuff, but not the deer he's looking forward to come out. Hopefully tonight's the night. I changed my spot up. Usually sitting up blind, it's on an elevated platform over there. But I ended up sitting in the back. I cut a bunch of branches out of one of these trees. I got back up off the backside of the food plot. So the blind's over there. These deer have been traveling right through here. I got north wind. Try to blow it back this way. If I sit in that blind, the whole wind's blowing right to where they're coming through it. So I'm trying to get them on a crosswind back away from them. Other side of the food plot. This made me to where I had to work my way through where I want the deer to go, but hopefully my ground scent wasn't very much. We'll find out tonight, I'm sure. So it's about 2:45. I think it's dark around. Sunset's about 7, so 7:30ish it should be completely dark. But see what happens. Next evening, it's about 3 o'clock. I sat there and watched my camera to see if these deer would move out of here. They've been here since daylight, all day long. They haven't left. There's been one after another. And tried to go up here and get another shot after no browse. He showed up about 20 minutes after we got out of stand. We was out over late last night because I had deer still sitting in here feeding. I couldn't get down until they ended up feeding off from here. I was able to get down. It was probably about 20-30 minutes after dark. I was finally able to make my way out of here. About 20 minutes after that, no browse of deer I'm trying to harvest out of here showed up. Then he was back in here all night. Then in the morning, he showed back up in here, daylight. So hopefully he comes out about an hour earlier tonight for this evening to come in and see what happens. This will be a great buck to close on this deer. Wait a long time. I think this is the closest I got to him being on a good pattern since I've hunted him for the last 3 years. Which we've been keeping an eye on this deer for 5. So I'll keep you updated and see if we see anything this evening. We're back out here on public. We're hitting a different spot. And we're just doing a quick set. It's windy. Temperatures dropped a lot. I'm on the edge of a hayfield. And I got this big patch of hardwoods. It's mixed in with a lot of white oaks. A couple big ones, a lot of young ones. It's like a point that comes back up and over the top, and they might walk this bench. We have a west wind, so the wind blows this way. Hopefully they try to skirt this bench down through here. Or they walk out in the corner of this field. They go on this field edge here. We got Brett. He's clear over on that other side of the hayfield. Out a little bit further, so his wind's kind of blowing into the holler back this way. But hopefully we see something moving. We've been hunting public. Well, we've been hunting private property and been seeing deer. My two boys ended up shooting a couple. Our oldest boy, Dalton, shot his third buck, and things have been going slow on private, so we hop back out here on public land and try to sit in a strategic spot and see if we get lucky. Alright, it's the 26th. We're back out here. We're on a private piece. Last time I hunted, went out to public and tried to take a shot at out there. I didn't end up learning anything, didn't see any deer, so then it warmed up and it got up into the high 70s, low 80s last couple of days. So I haven't been out hunting, been working on the house chores and getting things ready for wintertime. And it dropped 30 degrees and it's going to be in the high 40s and low 50s. It's a little bit windy. I think it's going to calm down for the evening. We got a we got a west wind, which is blowing directly this way, which I don't really have the deer come from that direction because that's the way I walk in. So, looking for one to show up tonight on west wind. Hopefully no browse shows his face. He came through at probably like 10:30 last night, which he's been showing up about every day, just walking through at night. I think with this temperature drop, the wind, and the wind direction, he'll walk in. Normally it comes from the west side of my blind, like the northwest of my blind. So alright, it's next morning. I hunted out here yesterday evening on a southwest wind, and overnight changed into like a northeast wind. So I'm back out here. It's the morning. I spooked some deer coming in, so I don't know. It's been dead quiet since I've been in here. We'll see if these deer are gonna move any, or if I buttered it up too much. If I had to sit in my stand instead of in the blind because of the north wind. But see what happens.
Wow, this is a long day. I've been in there since morning. It was an all-day sit. Had a bobcat work its way through in the morning, kind of shut down a lot of deer movement. So, and the wind ended up switching midday, so I had to switch my blind to get in the right wind. This is on the 27th of October, going into the 28th. I was planning on going in there afternoon to hunt. no browse actually ended up showing up on the 28th in the morning daylight. But I think the way I was walking in, I was spooking him out of his bed, so I decided afternoons were better to hunt him. And I forgot to do an interview, so we're just going to hop right into this hunt, this deer walking in, and the rest is history.